I want to attend the funeral. I'm sorry. I can't. Forgive me, but I just can't. But I'm going to guarantee you, he's going to have a funeral. I hope y'all enjoy the show, the Girlalala show. Enjoy it. I ain't taking nothing from none of his followers, nothing. I don't want no money, nothing. I'm going to give y'all a receipt. I don't want none of that. I ain't bury my son in peace. Y'all want to put the man in the wig. I ain't letting no preacher stand up. Ain't no ordained, anointed preacher gonna do that. Stand up with no man and preach in the wig. Stop it. Y'all doing this for the show. Y'all ain't worried about my son's soul. Please, I ask y'all to have Friday. I'm going to get a word, Girlalala, whatever y'all want, Girlalala. I don't know him as that. I ain't taking that from his followers, from his crowd, none of that. Y'all can have that. Put him in the wig. The viewing is open for the public. Come see him. I ain't taking that opportunity from y'all. I don't want none of his followers, likes, none of that. The funeral Saturday. Put my son in a pot smoke, braids with a sharp tape, or afro for the last time. I ain't attending no funeral with my son that God gave to me as a boy in the wig. I ain't attending no funeral. I'm not attending no funeral like that. I ain't being held accountable. You can. Once I secure and make sure my son got a funeral paid for y'all, for the people who truly, genuine, donated and supported, I thank y'all. Everybody that called, text, email, prayers, thank you. That genuinely loved my son and supported him and want to see him buried the right way. I'm going to make sure that everything is taken care of. And then I'm going to release his mom and his sister. They can do whatever they want. But I want to attend the funeral. I'm sorry. I can't. Forgive me, but I just can't. But I'm going to guarantee you, he's going to have a funeral. I hope y'all enjoy the show, the Girlalala show. Enjoy it. I ain't taking nothing from none of his followers, nothing. I don't want no money, nothing. I'm going to give y'all a receipt. I don't want none of that. She want to go up under my wig.
Y'all only saying that we don't respect the family because y'all only looking from the outside. But once you next to a bitch, sleep with every day, and they vent to you, and they say they don't want nothing to do with that family, they're changing their last name to my last name because we treat her as a family. It was my people, me and Girlalala people. I was there for her. Bitch, was nobody else. And when Girlalala got locked up, where was you? Where were y'all? I didn't see nobody. She didn't reach out to nobody but her sister Destiny. And that's, like I said, that's the only I would respect. Destiny, that's the only
Destiny, understand. Destiny wants to go on up under as Girlalala. Who the fuck see exalted more? Give Girlalala, give the fans what they want, give everybody what they want, give Lala what she want.
Don't worry about if I took or not. Go home, not to take one out. Bitch, I have ball.
Y'all see my motherfucking hungover. Let me see what happened. I haven't hungover. What happened?
It's just so much that's going on, and then
both sides have a good point. But dad, y'all should okay.
Y'all respectfully.
No, I understand. I'm not even understanding what daddy said. That's his child. But bitch, get what she wanted. It's not what you want. It's get what she wanted. I would understand. Lala was like a 7. Like if she was a child, Lala have her own mind. Give Lala what she wanted. What?
Lay Lala down as a family. Y'all want to divide.
Y'all not his real friends for a bitch. Real friend. I don't think anybody. Well, I really. You didn't put your son real mama inside a bitch. What you mean, girl? What shit that's going on for real? Bitch. Let's really put it on the floor. Y'all talk about, bitch. Real mama. He didn't put the mama inside. Mama said, even if the mama have to say so, bitch, listen to her. Bitch.
They ain't paying me for nothing.
Let's really put it on the floor. Talk about. Y'all know what the. No, that man been wrong.
I hate when somebody trying to misunderstand what a is. I just seen a video of Girlalala dad going up, not really going up, but just basically saying like nobody showed the same support for his other son that they showing for, Girlalala. Me personally, I don't think that he's comparing the two. He's not saying it like that. I feel like he's saying like all of a sudden not everybody want to be in tune with the funeral, in tune with this, in tune with that, because Girlalala got a name to her. Like, because her name got something behind it, not everybody got something to say about this, and that. Honestly, I don't think that he really talking about, like, the fans and shit. I think that he's talking about, like, their immediate family, like, the people that's around them that can actually call, like, extra shot. and I wouldn't say necessarily call the shots, but input their opinion. At the end of the day, that man is fucking grieving. Like, no matter how he react or how he come off, I feel like his grievance should be held with respect. Like,
and I keep seeing videos with Girlalala's father going back and forth with her friends and her family, and y'all feeling like, oh, well, Girlalala wants to bury her as a boy, that he has every right because that's his son. The same man that paid no attention to her when she was locked up, the same man that didn't help her when she was homeless, the same man that neglected her almost her whole life. What the F asterisk do you mean he has to say? The words come crashing in, raw and unfiltered, as a friend of Girlalala responds to the controversy surrounding the father's live video. In the aftermath of Girlalala's tragic death, this response ignites a firestorm online, calling out the hypocrisy and hurt of a father who had never been there for his child. If you're already feeling the weight of this story, hit that like button, subscribe to Crimelab Report, and smash the bell, because cases like this demand to be heard, and we can't let them stay in the shadows. The whole story started to unravel publicly when Girlalala's father posted a live video that would shock her followers and make waves across social media. In it, he made his stance clear. He would not attend his daughter's funeral as she was buried wearing a wig, citing his religious beliefs. He argued it would go against his understanding of how she should be remembered. But the reaction to this video, it was a tornado. Her friends and supporters, who had seen Girlalala rise to prominence as a confident transgender woman, were furious. They couldn't understand how someone who had neglected their daughter for so long could suddenly have a say in how she should be memorialized. The video became a lightning rod for all the issues that had plagued Girlalala's life: neglect, rejection, and now, even in death, the fight for her identity. In this explosive moment, the anger wasn't just about the father's refusal to honor her identity, but about the sheer audacity of it all. Her friends took to social media to call out the hypocrisy of a man who had failed to be there when Girlalala needed him most. The message was clear. This was not just a question of religious views. It was about acknowledging who she truly was. And the public felt that this was an attempt to erase her identity in death, just like he had done throughout her life. The response from the community was swift and vocal. Many saw this as the final straw in a lifetime of emotional and physical abandonment. The friend who went live, who was clearly fed up the father's behavior, hit a nerve with people all over social media. What does he have to say? They demanded, echoing frustration that was building in the wake of the father's statements. To them, this wasn't just a funeral dispute. It was a final insult to someone who had fought so hard to embrace their true self. As the controversy grew, it wasn't just about one father's decision. It was about how society often reacts to transgender individuals and their right to be acknowledged for who they are. This wasn't just a fight over a wig. It was a battle for dignity and respect, even after death. We know this story isn't just about Girlalala. It's about the community and the fight to protect people's identities in life and in death. Stick around, because this discussion is just getting started, and the twists are far from over. The situation escalated quickly after the father's live video, and it sparked intense reactions from everyone who had followed Girlalala's journey. Her friends and supporters were especially vocal, using the moment to not just call out her father's stance, but to also reflect on the years of mistreatment that Girlalala had faced. They asked, how could a man who had ignored his daughter when she was struggling suddenly decide how she should be remembered? The pain was real. The frustration was palpable. Girlalala's friend began to share their own stories about how they had watched her fight so hard to be seen and accepted for who she was, only for that fight to be invalidated at the very end of her life. Her father, in their eyes, had no right to control her narrative, especially after the way he had treated her. Take a moment to think about it. How many people struggle with their identities while dealing with rejection and neglect from the people who should love them the most? Girlalala's story wasn't just hers. It represented something bigger, a reflection of the way society, and sometimes even families, treat those who don't fit the conventional mold. When her father made the decision to publicly address the funeral plans, the backlash was immediate and strong. His comments about not allowing her to be buried with a wig, rejecting her gender identity in death, only highlighted the emotional distance between them. Girlalala's friends couldn't just sit by and watch this happen. They knew what she had been through. They knew how far she had come, and they understood the deep significance of her identity. To her friends, this wasn't just a simple disagreement over funeral arrangements. It was a painful reminder of how Girlalala's identity had always been something she had to fight for. Whether it was in a family home, in public spaces, or even in her own mind, she had been constantly forced to prove who she was. And now, even in death, it felt like that struggle was continuing. Many people who had followed her journey from the beginning came forward to express their anger and disappointment with her father. They argued that this wasn't about him. It was about honoring Girlalala's life and acknowledging her for who she truly was. The fact that her father would try to dictate how she should be memorialized, even when she was gone, seemed like an outright rejection of everything she had fought for. It didn't take long for the outcry to grow louder. On social media, fans and supporters of Girlalala demanded that her father respect her wishes, even if he didn't understand them. People began posting messages of solidarity, expressing their belief that transgender individuals should have a right to live and die as their true selves, without being erased or silenced by others. What's even more devastating is that Girlalala had spent so many years fighting to embrace who she was, despite her father's neglect and lack of support. And now, in her final moments, she was still being denied that same right. It left so many questioning. How much longer can society ignore the voices of those who are marginalized? Even in death? The whole situation also raised another question. What happens to someone's legacy when their identity is rejected, especially by those who are closest to them? In Girlalala's case, it was clear that her legacy, her identity as a transgender woman, was something she had spent her entire life trying to solidify, and yet it was being undermined at the end. This isn't just a tragedy about one woman, but a broader issue that many individuals face: the battle for recognition and respect even after they're gone. Girlalala's friends and supporters weren't going to let her story be silenced or distorted. They were committed to making sure that her true self was honored and her identity was protected. But as we look at the backlash and the ongoing battle over her memorial, it's impossible not to think about the bigger picture. How do we, as a society, treat the legacies of those who are different? And how can we ensure that people, like Girlalala, are remembered for who they truly were, without anyone having the power to erase their truth? In the wake of her death, Girlalala's story is not just about what happened to her, but also about what happens to those whose identities don't fit the mainstream. How can we protect people like her? How can we ensure their stories are not forgotten, even when those closest to them choose to erase their existence? Now, more than ever, we need to have those conversations. We need to ask ourselves, what legacy do we want to leave for those who are fighting to be seen for who they really are? If this story resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Crimelab Report to keep the conversation going. Let's make sure Girlalala's story doesn't fade away and that her truth remains at the forefront of this ongoing conversation.